Hey there.
Hi there. We have a whole new background. We're in a different room and
I'm in a,
everything.
I'm in a different room today. I'm in the old part of the house today.
You're in the parlor.
Oh, that's right. So I
So,
hope that because this is the area of the house that's closest to Route 11, so hopefully we don't have too much traffic noise.
oh yeah, I was worried about that too because just as soon as I opened up the windows and came to sit down at the kitchen table, the neighbor decides to get the chainsaw.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I've closed the windows. I can still hear him. I'm thinking this mic though doesn't pick up anything much further outside of.
I
So
agree.
hopefully, yeah. And the husband is on the porch, and I said, "Okay, I'm getting ready to record. That means you can't come walking in, making noise or burping or doing any of that kind of stuff."
Exactly. Yeah, in that other room, now that like the dog is a lot more active, the birds are, she loves to chase birds and she loves to chase the squirrels, and so there's a lot more going on in that other room where I was before.
So, how are you? How are the kids? How was graduation?
Oh, graduation was awesome. They really did a nice job of sort of keeping the kids. And, there was a photographer there who took photos through the entire days, all 3 days.
Wow.
And he posted a lot of them on Facebook. And when you scroll through those photos, it just looks like there's a lot of people. But when you were there on the ground, there were not a lot of people. It was like our families sort of stayed pretty well distant, groups of six, like little group here, little group on the football field, which was very expansive, you know. But so, we all felt, I mean, I certainly did anyway. I felt pretty good about the way it went. For my daughter, her cap kept flying off because it was super windy, and the principal kept putting it back on her, which meant that they were close. And so we were all kind of like, oh, I hope that that's okay. And, but it's been 2 weeks and everybody is still well and fine. And so it was nice to have a graduation.
Now, where is she going to college, or is she going to college?
She's going to UVA. I
Nice.
know. I'm
That's
very,
an
very excited.
accomplishment.
Yeah, she's a really smart kid. She loves academics, and I'm super excited for her.
What's she going to
Yeah.
major in?
She is she's she doesn't know yet. She hasn't decided, and that was why she really, really just wanted to go to like a small liberal arts school where she had like could just exist there and decide at some
Yeah.
point. She's interested in engineering and STEM type of programs. She's interested in art, and she's interested in political science.
Oh,
So it's, her interests are pretty broad, and I'm excited because she took a bunch of dual enrollment classes while she was in high school, and so she's able to use some of those credits for some gen ed stuff, and hopefully she'll be able to take a few more electives where she could sort of explore more interesting topics. Hopefully, I don't know. It's my first time being the mom of a college age person, so I'm navigating and getting it figured out. We're looking at the housing situation right now. We're looking at applying for some special.
oh, you froze. Oh, now you're back.
Oh, good.
Well, your chair is back.
I think my internet for
Yeah.
a moment. That's weird. Okay, so let me make this bigger. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. I hope that doesn't happen while we're recording the show.
Well, if not, then we'll just edit it out and go back to where we
Oh,
started.
you're so good. You're so good. So
Well,
anyway,
just
yeah.
and I don't know if they know each other, or I don't even know how or why they would know each other anyway. But Doug Stanley's daughter also graduated this year, and she too is going to UVA.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh,
So, and I think
I love it.
she's. I asked Doug when he was at the studio a couple of weeks ago to do the show. She's going to major in public policy, which I was like, really? I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of a really cool thing considering, but then
yeah,
again, considering really, why
yeah.
would she
I
want to
know.
get into that knowing what you had gone through?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get a kick out of my daughter being excited about political science. I think, oh gosh,
Ugh.
to be really brave
Yeah.
to
Well,
get
but
that.
and That's what it's going to take. It's going to take this next generation coming in with a whole different perspective, with a different way of doing things. And that's, that's probably the only way change is really going to happen. And Lord knows we need change.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, yeah, it's pretty consuming.
So what are we talking about today? What's going on?
Okay, so today I want to share with you the brand new outdoor recreation guide.
All right.
Do I need to do something with my screen to make it forward? Should I switch around so that you can read it? Not that anybody wants to read it on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do want to show everybody that in this outdoor recreation guide, we have an awesome map that shows all of the campsites, all of the river put-ins, all of the public river access and off-highway vehicle trails.
Okay.
So I'm going to hopefully talk a lot today about it's going to be, I don't have any events to really cover. Everybody's still quite uncertain about their events.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk a lot about the new outdoor recreation guide, where people can pick one up. We're going to try to get them to, we've made sure we're trying to get them to all of the wineries, because we're going to talk about that. Those wineries are going to be open. Some restaurants are opening with limited hours
seating
and outdoor seating. Yeah, I feel a little bit scattered today because there's a lot of detailed information about so we're really encouraging people when they come out here, like, just make sure that you plan ahead for where you're going to eat and do some takeout and picnics. Trails are open. We're encouraging people to come out and take advantage of 178 miles of hiking trails.
Wow.
Because there are great, yeah, that's one thing we've been able to brag about for a really long time. 178 miles of hiking trails in the George Washington National Forest. And so Fort Valley Ranch has been open all of this time. You can go and social distance on a horse. And you can get in your car and do scenic drives. We're working on a couple of blogs right now to really highlight some really great scenic drives. I know that the motorcycles have been going past my house for 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can hear them here in Middletown on Main Street, so they're everywhere.
Yeah, my dog really enjoys them. She hears them coming, she goes running out to the front yard. Let's see. I'm working on a blog right now about scenic drives, about, in particular, country stores that are open along those back roads, and like some of the things that you can find at country stores. And there's some really cool ones.
Oh yeah, and they have really cool stuff. I mean, that's kind of when people are coming from DC, that's what they're looking for.
Right. And the sort of the home cooking, like there's Larkin's store that has that great pizza, but then there's there's two places, Folt's store, and there's another place, I think Cook's Exxon has fried chicken, but like Folt's store has really, really good fried chicken. Would you mind if I just run real quick and grab a glass of water?
No, go ahead.
Sure I'm okay with that. Hold on one second. Dry cough with sneezing, so I'm sure it's allergies.
Oh yeah, I saw on the news last night, trees and grasses are high and crazy. So, yeah.
And then I was going to go over the content of our website COVID page, which just lists all of the restaurants that are offering takeout curbside delivery.
Okay.
I want to point out a couple of places that are reopening now, like 7 East Gallery. I'm going to point out Route 11 Potato Chips has like a takeout window now.
Oh,
You can see that on social media. And then Shrinemont has some announcements about their sort of limited opening.
yeah, because they've pushed back the music festival.
Yeah, and that's that's of course out of our hands. They're pushing it back. I forgot to maybe August.
Yeah. I think that was the last press release I saw, and they're doing it's because it's going to be a shortened season, though they're hoping to try and expand it into September, but I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah,
And then
feel
I
like
think was it online tickets only? I'm trying to remember how they were doing. Dennis has been sending he sent like 5 press releases in the span of a week and a half, so I just quit reading them and sent them to the news department.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, so but Shrinemont has closed their summer camp program for kids, but they are opening in a limited way they're not closed fully for the summer. It's they will have 10 cottages available for rent. So you can go out there, but they won't have like the food service that they normally do where, you go and rent a cottage and you get, 3 meals a day and things like that. They're not doing anything like that, but they are just making it so that they are what they call, their slogan is a place apart, so that people can come from the city and they can rent a house and maintain social distancing. They don't want people like from other houses. Like you essentially just go with your household and you can rent a cottage and spend some time there. They have a ton of hiking trails and it's just a beautiful place and then you could go get takeout from any of the restaurants that are locally. And
okay.
So as you can see, I have just sort of a scattered list of things. That's
all right. We'll figure it out. I made a big list and I'll just check them off as we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. That seems very organized of you. Thank you.
I know. Yeah. Wow. Don't get too excited. In theory, it sounds good. Who knows what it's going to sound like by the time we're done?
Sure enough.
All
right. Well, help me through it.
All right. Let's go ahead. Hello and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday as you are listening to the show today. However, Kary and I have pre-recorded today's episode on a pretty sunny Monday morning. Kary Haun, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a month, literally. So how are things going? Everybody healthy? Everybody happy? Are you stir crazy yet?
I could do this for a long time. But that's my personality. So I wake up in the morning and go, oh, I don't have to go anywhere. So, I get still. I mean, it's been not, we've seen friends. We've seen friends outside because we live in a place where we're sort of central to downtown Woodstock. So, we see friends walking and we can talk to them over the fence. And we have really nice neighbors. We actually had a neighbor gathering for the first time since this whole thing started. Now, our next door neighbors and we have, often we'll have appetizers together or we'll have glasses of wine together at each other's houses and then go our separate ways for dinner, just to have a little bit of socialization. But we hadn't done anything like that all spring. And just this past Saturday, we set up our lawn chairs in the driveways and we sat on opposite sides of the driveways and had a glass of wine and visited for a couple of hours. It was really fun. Pardon me, I have a tickle in my throat.
Oh.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. But we were talking about the grasses.
Oh, yeah.
The tree pollen. Wow. And I've been sneezing a lot. So the pollen really gets to me at this time of year. Plus, I'm out in the garden more often now.
Yes, a lot of people are spending a lot of time in the garden.
My gardens are so beautiful right now. I'm so pumped. My husband put a rain barrel out for me, so I just go out there and I spend hours watering, and I'm really working on my rose bushes. They're coming alive. I've got beautiful yellow roses. which I've always wanted, but I've
Nice.
never had time to make them, work. So,
To bring them along, to maintain and care for them.
yep, because they require it for sure. Anyway,
So
so
you
yes,
are
thank you.
venturing back into civilization of sorts, at least from a distance with your neighbors, but so is almost all of Shenandoah County. I mean, they're starting to pop their heads back out of the gopher hole and seeing what they can accomplish now,
Coming out of the
curbside
woodwork.
and everything else, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so it looks as though like some businesses are opening up a little bit slowly. Certainly now that the weather is nice, and oh my gosh, it's so nice. We spent all day outside yesterday, and it was a little cool. And if you were moving around, you didn't need a sweatshirt, but if you were sitting still and you were not in the sunshine, a little sweatshirt was perfect. But the restaurants that have the ability to have outdoor seating are definitely using that to their advantage. And so I know certainly the Woodstock Cafe has put new outdoor seating outside the back as well as the front.
Oh,
And so they're offering their lunches where you can go and sit down and be socially distant with your small group, or couples, or by yourselves, and they'll bring your food out to you takeout style. So you'll just get the takeout containers and stuff. So it's a little bit limited, but I think that for a lot of people, it just feels really good to have something that's somewhat normal,
yes.
right?
Well, it's so much nicer than going to a restaurant and doing the takeout and sitting in your car in a parking lot to eat it because you don't want it to get cold before you get it
Exactly.
home. So at least now the outdoor seating portion of it makes it a little bit closer to the normal we were used to.
Right, right. And we certainly couldn't do that back in March or even April. Gosh, April was so cold. So I think the timing of the loosening of the restrictions, along with the nice warm weather where people can be outside, just kind of gives us just a few extra options, and that's always a good thing.
And
But now, as you know, businesses are required to have people wear masks indoors.
mhm.
And I actually, like I said, I don't go out much, but maybe once a week, and I'll go to the grocery store. I also shop for my mother-in-law, and and I'm impressed. I mean, there's some days where you see more people masked than others, but I haven't been out since they made it a mandatory for mask wearing. I always wear a mask when I go out, so I'm all right with that.
Well, thank you. I personally appreciate that, even though you
Good.
and I have never seen each other outside of this Zoom screen for several
No,
months now.
it's a truth. It's a truth.
Well, and it's got to be great for you from a tourism perspective to see how many of these businesses across Shenandoah County have really made the pivot and they have figured out curbside. They have figured out takeout. You were telling me before we started recording for the radio show, even Route 11 potato chips
Yes.
has a window now that you could go and pick
Hmm.
up potato chips.
Yes, yes. And restaurants that were once closed, like for example, I think some of the Chinese restaurants, they've set it up, they're like Chinese takeout, where like you can't even go in, you just sort of like go right up to the door, and then they have, something set up to where they could just pass the food on to you, just from a very, very distant way. So that's a really good thing. And I'm just been so impressed with how creative businesses have been in order to sort of stay alive, and even shift to doing things that they weren't doing before. For example, well, Suzanne's Studio is the pottery
Hmm.
painting place, and they did for a little while. They did some carry out bags of things that people could take home and then bring back, and they would fire. And then they stopped doing that for a little while, but they're back doing it now. And you can go to their Facebook page or to any of their social media and find out how you can do your own paint your own pottery thing. They can do outdoor seating, and then they're doing small group indoor seating with lots of social distancing on the inside.
Yeah, because
And
she's
then
got a pretty large space. I mean, that's a
it
fairly
is a very
large
large space.
space even
Hmm.
inside her
Yeah.
studio.
Yes. And I think that the word is that 50% capacity or less is about right, is appropriate. Another gallery that is opens today is Seven East Gallery. which is our art gallery downtown Woodstock, and they have new hours, so you'll have to look at their social media to get their new hours. Oh, and actually, honestly, if you want to know about where all of that information is, if you go to visit shenandoahcounty.com, you'll see that there's a tab called COVID-19, and there is a nice long list of things that are just hold it up, things that are happening, and places that are opening. This is a very detailed list of restaurants and breweries and wineries that are open for curbside takeout and pickup and some delivery. So
kind of gives you the rundown, because right now I would imagine that planning, anyone who's thinking of coming to the area, or even those of us that are relatively close that are thinking we need to get out, planning those trips is even more important now, because we can't just assume everything's going to be open and you're going to be able to walk in and sit down and do whatever. You really do have to kind of figure out who's doing what and kind of incorporate that into whatever your agenda or itinerary is for the day.
Exactly. And I've known to, even though, I try to have my finger on the pulse of all of it, daily, and even with my, local places that I frequent. I made a mistake the other day going over to the cafe and thinking that I was going to get a case of wine, and they had closed at 3. And I'm like, wait, they're not open for dinner now? No, they're not open for dinner. They're still doing lunches. They have the tables outside, but that's for, lunch only anyway. So, my bad.
Hey, it happens to all of us, I will tell you. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I know one of the things that you showed me on the screen, and I'll remind people as they're listening now, if you want to watch this interview, I always put the video up on the River 95.3's YouTube channel. There's a whole playlist for the Valley today, and when guests give me the permission to use the video, we put it up. And I know that in the next segment, Kary's going to be talking about the outdoor recreation guide, and I know you're going to show me some things on the screen. So people will be able to watch that all on our YouTube channel. But let's talk about that when we come back. Okay, and perfect. I want to talk some about the blogs. You were telling me about all the different types of blogs that Shenandoah County Tourism has on their website. So can we talk about that in the second segment too?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, we will be back in just a couple of minutes. It is Tourism Tuesday, Shenandoah County edition, as you are hearing this on Tuesday. However, Kary and I have pre-recorded this conversation on Monday morning. We're going to come back and continue that conversation with her in just a few minutes.
Okay, awesome.
Ta-da.
Yeah, I may have to. So we have a blog page on our website, and one of the things that is challenging that we work very hard on is making sure that all of the content within the blogs, because when you write a blog, you want to sort of give a shout out to certain businesses and stuff, and but when you have 20 or 30 blogs listed on your website, you want to make sure that, like, when a blog mentions a cafe or a restaurant that's been closed for 2 years, or something like that, you want to make sure that you've got the most current information. And I, again, like, big shout out to Brenda Black, who joined our office a little over a year ago. Like, she has gone in and cleaned up so much of that stuff, has asked so many questions about, like, which places, we're familiar with, and making sure that every one of those blogs is up to date. It's pretty awesome.
And that's tough because, you're right. You never really know when somebody is actually going to read that. And you may have written that 2 years ago, and they are just now happening upon it for any number of reasons, whether it's in a search results page or they see one and then they just start reading all of them and end up they don't pay attention to a date. Right. So you can't really say, well, you should have known the date of that was 2016. Well, no, you can't go on that assumption.
Because they're, for the most part, the majority of the content is still relevant. Those roads are still there to drive on and stuff. So it's just a matter of, like, which business is in that address, at that moment. And so we've got some.
Do you think have you heard of any of your businesses that are not going to come back? I know we lost Nana's Irish Pub.
No. I did not realize that.
Nana's Irish, but she posted on Facebook that she had been open briefly early in March for carry out, wasn't able to maintain that, so she closed. And then 2 weeks ago, I think she posted on her Facebook page that she was not going to be reopening. And I was like, no.
Oh, that's
no.
so sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That was such a popular spot, and
yeah.
I know the couple of times
Yeah.
I've eaten there has been jam packed, and yeah,
I
everybody
see,
loves it.
and I wonder too about some of, I'm wondering how much of that was the hit that she took financially, or
Yeah,
whether it was a lot for her anyway.
yeah.
And this was, if you're ever going to do it, now is the time. Maybe this
Yeah,
was, I don't want to say excuse, but this was good timing to just say, you know what, this is a good stopping point. And
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it
you have
may
the
sell.
opportunity.
I mean, I don't know. She may sell it to somebody else and they may come in and reopen it. I have no idea.
That's interesting. Yeah, when you have the opportunity, you ramping something down versus like we're just closed and now we can just sort of deal with all of the closing part of it while we're closed. That I can imagine. Yeah, if
Yeah.
she was tired, she was already ready to be done. I don't. Who knows? We can only
Yeah.
speculate. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm just
But
speculating.
I'm devastated because no
Uh,
more fish and chips. We used to go there. I mean, they're a block and a
yeah.
half from the house. So it was, Wednesday night trivia. I just had recorded a radio show there 2 months ago.
Oh. Oh man, yeah, the landscape changing like this. I can't think offhand of any specific place that that doesn't jump out at me as like, oh no, this place is closed. So far, I think we're
Good.
still holding a pretty steady line.
Good. Yeah, I know Virginia Canopy Tour is closed in the state park as well,
Oh wow.
but they closed before this all happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were going to be closed, and then this happened, and then they announced that they were not going. They were closed. So, I mean, if a zip line can't make it in a state park,
Mm-hmm.
that just that's a whole nother list of questions that I would have. But yeah, not
Sure.
for today.
Sure, sure. No, in fact, we've had some openings. Have you had food at the Pancake Underground in Strasbourg?
I haven't. I have heard a ton of stuff about it, but I have not.
So good. We finally, it was my daughter's birthday a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, we are going there for dinner. And actually, at the time, they closed at 3 o'clock, so we actually ended up just doing brunch there the following day. But oh my God, their chicken and waffles,
Ah,
and they have like a bourbon maple syrup, and like if you just go to the website and see
yeah.
the menu, and then they have pictures, like you can order online.
Oh,
That's a really good thing.
yeah.
And then
At
our
some point, I'm
experience
gonna
was,
have to just start leaving my house because I haven't. I went from freaking out that I'm not going to be able to survive this because I'm an out and about kind of person
mm,
to I don't want to go anywhere. Walmart is so far even to pick up, and
mhm.
I don't care about you people. I really don't have to see you. I don't want to get annoyed that you're not wearing masks. It's just
Yeah,
easier to stay home in my own little bubble.
yeah.
But I'm probably going to have to start phasing myself back out of that, I guess.
I mean, I get that. Because yeah, that's kind of where I was right out of the gate with that. Just I'm all right if I don't go anywhere. And we actually, I mean, that was like the second time we got takeout in these last 3 months.
Yeah.
So we hadn't even really been doing that as much as we, wanted to be able to. Actually, I went out and got a bunch of gift cards from some of our favorite restaurants. So, but takeout just didn't feel. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So, and we didn't do that either. And I did the same thing. I went to a lot of the local places that I knew I could buy gift cards online and bought a bunch.
Hmm.
So I've got a ton of money sitting, on my desk waiting for me to go
Waiting.
out and use it. But,
It's so good.
yeah, I don't just, ugh. All right. So when we come back, let's lead back. Do you want to start back in with the website and the blogs, or do you want to start in with the outdoor recreation guide and use that as kind of the springboard into and
Hmm.
hear all these other things that you can do?
Let me look at let me just look at the blog page just so that I can familiarize myself with what it even looks like. If that, are you okay with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. So visit Shenandoah County. Can I do that from here? Oh, exit full. Yes, let me do that real quick. Plan your trip. So if you go to plan your trip, you'll have itineraries and then go to experience travel. Okay, so it's at the very top, travel blog. Um, okay, so yeah, there's 21 ways girls can just have fun in Shenandoah County. There's a shop local online. There's a whole blog about just where you can go and shop and have things delivered to you from Shenandoah County.
Awesome.
5 reasons Shenandoah County is the top outdoor destination for spring. So that's going to have a lot of information about, here, let me click on that. It's going to have a lot of information about scenic drives, outdoor recreation, dark starry nights for camping, farmers markets, wineries, cideries, breweries. So that's a good one.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, thank you for letting me familiarize myself before I launch into okay. Great.
All right. Then let's knock out the last half. Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Tourism Tuesday, Shenandoah County edition. As you are listening to the show today, however, Kary and I have pre-recorded this on Monday morning, and we are having a glorious conversation that you can watch all of if you head over to the River 95.3's YouTube channel. Just do a search for the River 95.3. There you'll find a Valley Today playlist and several of the shows that I've done. I think all of the shows that I've done with Kary you can watch, because I know one of the things that we're going to talk about here in a second is the outdoor recreation guide, and Kary's going to hold some up in the screen. So as you're listening to this and you're thinking, why is she saying, see, doesn't this look great? I can't see it. It's radio. It's because you can go to YouTube and see it later. But Kary, you were really, really proud of this outdoor recreation guide, because it was the first thing out of your mouth when you logged on to the Zoom screen this morning and said, look what we've got.
Oh man, we're so excited about this. We have had a outdoor recreation guide that we always, when we're fulfilling our visitor guides, like when people request them, you can go to our website, visit shenandoahcounty.com. You can request a visitor guide no matter where you are in the world, and I would put a visitor guide plus an outdoor recreation guide in an envelope and address it and send it to you. So we had an outdoor recreation guide for a long time, and while trails typically don't change, campsites typically don't change, but there is a lot of new and interesting information about how to enjoy the great outdoors in Shenandoah County. So it's been a long time coming, but through many edits and poring over, and I actually went through and plotted all of the campsites and trailheads on Google Maps to get the GPS coordinates, to make sure that in the listings part of where the trailheads are, you could literally just put in the GPS coordinates and it'll get you to the trailhead or place to park to go to the trailhead or whatever. So we actually have now, with the outdoor recreation guide, I'm gonna hold it up so you can see.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. The photo on the front is a couple of friends who had hiked up to Big Schloss. These were tourists. These were people who came to this area, and they posted this picture on their Instagram. And we in our office were so excited about this photo. They are just exuding that they're just having so much fun, and they had just conquered the mountain, and it's just really fun. It's a great photo. Anyway, so the visitor guide says, plan your adrenaline rush on the cover. But what the part that we're really proud of is this map in the back that folds out. It's a trifold map, and it folds out, and all of the trailheads are listed, and then they have a number that coincides with those trailheads and where that falls on the map. The map also has places where you can put your kayak or canoe into the river, where all of the public access points are for those. The guide has places that are primitive camping sites, places where you can go and camp, and also, the other like glamping sites, and just a little bit more.
Yeah. I was trying not to roll my eyes when you said primitive. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I know there are people that like that, and more power to them. I, however, am not one of them.
Yeah. I like camping. I just don't like camping when it's raining. That's what I told my family. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we can go, but we have to make darn sure that it's not going to rain, because that's what makes it miserable for me. But and then off highway vehicle trails
Oh,
are listed here too, so you can go and bring your off-highway vehicle. The other great thing about this outdoor recreation guide is that what we tried to do when we wrote it up was make sure that we were giving people perspective from like a local point of view, and so that any questions you might have about where to get fishing permits and where to get rentals for whatever that you need, where to get more information about how to find anything, honestly, is all going to be written in here. Um, there's also things like aerial sports, skydiving, where you can find zip lining, hang gliding and paragliding, ballooning, all of that's listed in there. Let's see. And then there is a section that shows like where you can go to get permits for fishing and hunting. And for the
awesome.
OHV, I think you need a permit for that as well.
And you
Um,
had mentioned to me, and I was shocked at this number, but you said that there are 178 miles of hiking trails in
mhm.
Shenandoah County.
Yes, hiking, biking, horseback riding, anything that you would use a trail for. There are 178 miles in the George Washington National Forest here in Shenandoah County, and
Wow.
probably more now that we have our Seven Bend State Park. So we did get a chance to go up and visit the Seven Bend State Park for the first time, and that was really awesome. We saw some wildlife, and the people who were hiking, there's so much space. You could just be socially distant from everybody, and that's really the thing that we're trying to encourage people to come here and recognize that you can be very socially distanced, whether you are just doing a scenic drive or you're going hiking or go horseback riding. I mean, the Fort Valley Ranch is open and has been for this whole time. You can go and sign up to do a horseback riding trail ride,
I
and
know, and
that's
we
really good.
joked a couple of shows ago about how we should do a radio show on horseback. So eventually we're going to get
Thank
there.
you. I got to write that down because
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that.
And we'll have
Um,
to reach back out because I know the guys from Seven Bend State Park were going to do a show right before everything shut down.
yeah.
And so we'll have to reach back out to them too because my lavalier mics have
Mm.
8-foot cords on them. So we
Oh,
could, in theory, walk the state park and be 6 or 8 feet apart from each other and still be able to pre-record a radio show. So
that's awesome. I want to be
we'll have
there
to
for
work on
that.
our technical stuff.
I love it. I love it. The other awesome thing about Seven Bend State Park, again, it's with the water. If you have a kayak or you have a canoe or you just want to float in a tube, there are two entrances to the Seven Bend State Park, and one is at Hollingsworth Road near Muse Vineyards, and then the other one is down Lupton Road. And I don't think that you can walk from one part of the park to the other, like it's just the way the mountains are, but you can certainly float. So you can put in at the Hollingsworth side and have a nice hour and a half long float, depending on obviously depending on how high the river is and how quickly it's moving, and then potentially take out at the other entrance. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
So you
And I
mentioned,
mentioned that Muse Vineyards is right there at that same entrance.
yeah.
So
So who wouldn't want to put in or take out at a vineyard?
exactly.
So you mentioned a minute ago, and you've said this a couple of times about scenic drives, and then we've talked about your blogs in the
Hmm.
past, and you have a lot of blogs on your website that kind of give people ideas. If they're like, well, I know I want to go somewhere, but I don't know what I want to do, this really
Hmm.
kind of gives them, hey, you could do this and this and this and this. And one of your blogs kind of calls out country stores and talks
Yeah.
about all of these really cool places that you could do on a scenic drive.
Yes. So actually, that's one that I'm working on, and I'll have it finished this week. And actually, once we get off this call, I'm going to go do my little drive around, just make sure that I know which roads I'm going to be taking as I write about them. That's really one of the fun parts of this job is like, when I think like, oh, well, I don't really need to do that. Like, I don't, is actually really fun, and I really should do that because, how else will I write accurately about them if I don't go and check it out? So one of the things I'm super excited about is today or tomorrow I'm going to be driving around to a bunch of different country stores. There's one that has just been renovated up in Strasbourg, and it's called New Star Market, and they just did, sort of in the spirit of like the Strasbourg murals, like the owners actually hired somebody to do a mural on the outside of that building, and I'm so excited to see it. And I think they've got some new things coming down the pipe hike for their business there. But, one of the neat things that happens in Shenandoah County is that we have country stores, like proper, like old-timey country stores down these sort of back roads. So I'm going to be writing a blog that just takes you on a tour through some of our scenic drives, and you can stop and get some fried chicken at one of some actually really famous fried chicken at some of our country stores. And then they all kind of have like a unique little personality of the types of things they sell, and sort of a personality of like the communities that they belong to. So I'm excited to get that blog out. But if you go to our website, visit shenandoahcounty.com, look in the top right corner, you'll see a tab for travel blog. And under that, that'll take you to a page, and there are, I don't know, dozens of travel blogs having to do with Shenandoah County, things about our Spirits Trail. There's a story about girls' weekend getaways. There's another story about scenic drives, things to do and see in the springtime. So they're sort of set up, categorized by seasons or by interests. And I will say that our office is absolutely dedicated to making sure that all of the businesses and the links that are in those blogs are accurate, and that the businesses that are represented are actually open and are open for business. They hadn't closed 2 years ago or whatever. Right. So, so we do try to, I mean, it's a really daunting task to keep up with it, but we have such an awesome team in our office that is extremely organized. I'm not one of the most organized people, but some of the other folks are. So,
that makes it a little bit.
It does. So I'm happy to be writing some more new, fresh blogs, especially with the idea that people would like to get out and do a scenic drive and be social distanced. And here's another way that you can do that.
Awesome. So, and that's visit shenandoahcounty.com.
Yep. And take a look at, there's actually 2 places that you can look at. If you go to plan your trip, there's a list of itineraries that are possible. And then if you go above that, look for a tab called travel blog. And then that will have lots of just, great ideas for you when you come out this way.
And then you've got all of the social media. You mentioned that the cover of the outdoor recreation guide came from something someone else posted on Instagram. Is there a hashtag you want people to use?
Yes. And I've forgotten what it is right now. It's hashtag Shenandoah Travel, hashtag Love VA. That's the sort of statewide tourism. Shenandoah, if you tag us in it, it is at Shenandoah Travel.
Perfect. Yeah. And you're on Instagram and Twitter, and you're on Facebook and all of the social.
Yeah, not as much Twitter, but certainly because it's such visual content that we love to push out. So we have a YouTube channel. We have some great new videos that we
not as great as this video of us having a conversation, of course.
Exactly. Let's see, where was I? Oh, and Instagram, of course, that's a really good one. Yeah. So this family that was, or this group of friends that were out, they tagged us in their image, and we just were kind of smitten by their really cool photo. Yeah.
So people will be able to pick up that outdoor recreation guide in various locations as well, right?
Yes. So I just delivered a bunch of them to all the hotels in the region. Brenda as well. She also delivered them in the southern part of the county. And we have sent large stacks of these to all of our vineyards, wineries, to our breweries, so that when people are coming, because, again, now that things are opening up a little bit more, people want to look for something else to do, because you're able to sit outside at a winery now, and they're, following all the protocols as well. And most of them, if you go to their websites, which are all linked through our website as well. You can just one-stop shopping, visit shenandoahcounty.com, but you can dive in, and if you're thinking about going to a specific winery, you can go to their websites and find out exactly what protocols they have in place for social distancing and spending time with your friends.
And people can just reach out to you through the website too and say, hey, I heard on the radio and I don't really want to go anywhere, but can you mail me one? And you can pop one in the mail to them too, I would guess.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep, I do that all the time. Yeah. And again, like go to our website and then all you do is click on the button that says request a visitor guide and I will send it right to you.
Fabulous. Well, we are going to wrap up today's episode of Tourism Tuesday, Shenandoah County edition. Kary Haun, as always, it has been lovely. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that when we get to the July show, maybe we can do it live in the studio or live at a location somewhere.
A location. Let's do that.
Yes, or pre-recorded at a location. It's so incredibly complicated to do a live show somewhere other than the station. So, but yes, we'll go meet somewhere. And so let's plan for that.
Okay, please. Yes, I love that idea. Okay, I'm going to go put it on my calendar right now, and I'm going to cook up an idea for us.
Perfect. I am going to be back on the air tomorrow for the Valley Business Today. It will actually be a live show because it is Nikki Kales from the Front Row Warren County Chamber of Commerce. So meet me back here tomorrow a few minutes after noon, and Nikki and I will be ready to have a conversation with you. All right, my dear.
Awesome.
Done.
Thank you. Thank you for getting me through that.
Hey, and we had a lot of stuff to cover. I mean,
we did. I know. I'm so excited about this outdoor recreation guide, and we just got the proofs back for our new visitor guide too. So they're actually going to kind of look alike and be so clearly like a together package of.
Oh, and it's been funny because I had so much of my schedule get blasted when all of this happened because it was events. But now that things are starting to come back, I'm able to at least start filling back in. So because I had you for today, Thursday is Frederick County Parks and Rec.
Nice.
And then I've got the Shenandoah Valley Travel Association is going to do a show on the 9th for Front Royal Tourism that doesn't belong to Front Royal anymore. Luray Chamber is doing their Valley Business Today next week on one of the canoe companies.
Oh, cool.
Because they're going to be open. And then their tourism show is going to be with Luray Caverns, who, believe it or not, I've never had on the show before.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, at least not in my time. They may have done it before me, but they haven't done it since I've been on.
That's great.
And then we've got somebody from the, Gina's also getting somebody from the state park from Skyline. What is it? No, the Skyline Drive, the Shenandoah National Park. Okay. She's got somebody from Shenandoah National Park that's going to do the end of the month. So it's been, thankfully it's all kind of coming back. Justin from Winchester had the Family Drive-In guy on last week because he's gotten international media coverage from Germany and Russia and CNN and all of these places. So
that's amazing. It was such a boom for so many.
It was so weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Places that, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just hope that the people that manage to make lemonade out of lemons appreciate and continue on that path. And those that weren't, understand why and fix it.
I'm so impressed. I'm like endlessly impressed by what people have been capable of doing. Like, of staying afloat by, just change it up. Let's change it up right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a huge testament to business owners this day and age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. To be so nimble.
Yeah,
it's great.
All right, my dear. Well, you put your thinking cap on and figure out what we can do because the July show. Hang on a second here. Let me look. The July show will be on the 7th.
Okay. July 7th. So, what do you think? You want to do do we want to do a winery or do you want to try to let me see what kind of events might be opening up. Maybe we go down to Shrinemont or maybe that's a hike, but it's awesome. I forgot to talk about Shrinemont while I was here.
Wow. And Dennis usually does, Dennis usually does one, but that's because you're away at camp, but you're not going to be away at camp, are you?
I'm so bummed. But my kids, it's funny. My kids, thankfully they don't think I'm too crazy, but like now I just sing camp songs at home all the time now. And,
so wait a minute. Let's look for a second. Let me see, because August 4th will be your August date. Okay. So if you want, I will go ahead and pencil in that will probably be a Dennis Lynch show.
Okay.
Either with you or by himself, however you want to work that out. Because if they're going to start in August, then that probably makes the most sense for him to wait until August to come
I agree.
Just because who knows what might change again, even between
Yeah.
now and then.
Do you want me to see if we can do a gathering of like me and Katie Mercer, Olivia, and Amber, and just kind of collaborate? And we could do it at a winery and just let sort of collaborate on um,
Yeah.
sort of highlighting what each town has going on.
Yeah. I think that's
Okay,
awesome.
good. Okay, oh man, now I mean it's like which winery?
Yeah.
So we could well, we could keep it central and be at Muse. We could go up to Star in the Valley, which is our newest one.
Well, they've done the show before.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Muse hasn't done a show.
Correct. And they have a nice outdoor facility and beautiful views, and they're right there by the state park.
So
Okay.
that may work. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then we
Let
can
me
all
ch- let me
sit out
check-
there. I'll bring my iPad with my lavalier mics and we can all sit and yeah.
Okay, and it's nice and quiet. And then the other idea would be like Cave Ridge or Cave Ridge, DeMello, and Kindred Point are all sort of in the same area, and they have nice outdoor.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause I've been to DeMello because I know Wendy. So
Okay. Let's also see if they'll open for us if it's just a Tuesday afternoon.
yeah.
That's going to be
Well,
the
but
other
we
side.
can pre-record it anytime. So we could do, if they're open on Thursday, say they don't open until 5, if they would let us come at 4
Okay.
or something where it's still relatively quiet, but yeah.
Okay, let me look into that.
Okay.
Yep.
Look at us planning ahead a whole month.
I know, as opposed to texting you the day before.
Until, holy crap, this is the first Tuesday of the month. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right.
I know. Woo, boy, did that creep up on me. All right, Olivia. That's cool. Yeah, and yeah, that's cool because Muse is right there.
Yeah, that might be the best option, and just figure out what their open hours are, and we'll go right before they open if that's okay with them. So that should be fine.
Yeah. All right, I'll check in.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you,
Have
Janet.
a good day.
All right, you too. Great.
Bye.
Bye.